Hello quilty friends and welcome back to my channel. My name's Rachel and I make videos about quilting and my creative life. Anywhere that you can find me on the web is listed down in the description box below. And if you do like this video or any of my other videos, please press the subscribe button. It's completely free of charge to do so. It just helps YouTube push my video out to more people. So today I thought I would share with you some of the quilted and patchwork cushions that I've made. Probably over the years, but in recent months I've been getting on a little bit of a cushion kick. And I was finally about to take one of my Christmas cushions off the sofa and replace it for something a little bit more seasonal. So I thought I would show you some of the ones that I've made. The Christmassy one isn't overly Christmas, so you'll understand why I've left it on for so long. If you watched my video where I was talking about finishing up some of my works in progresses, I think I made that at the beginning of the year and I'll leave a link to that in the description. In there, I think I was saying there were so many half completed things. I was like, I'll turn this into a cushion. I'll turn this into a cushion. And I'm not turning everything that I said into a cushion. But I've done a few things that were meant to be cushions. I've now finished them off. Well, partly. We'll get onto that as we go through the video. I'll share with you, I think the first cushion that I made, and it was a bit of a cheat because I've used a pre-made cushion cover and then appliqued some quilt as you go hexagons onto them. I think it's actually, yeah, it's this way round. So I did a panel here and then they've like started to separate and divide off. And I used a pre-made cushion that has like a quilt pattern on it. It's just got diamonds that tessellate together and it's got a little bit of a quilt pattern on it. So these were before my days of having the Daisy and Grace template, and I was going to make these into a whole quilt, and then I just gave up and I turned them into a cushion cover. And this was then gifted to my mum as a Christmas present, so I borrowed it back off her to show on this video. The outline of the hexagons is a very, very pale pink. It's probably faded over the years because I probably made this about 4 or 5 years ago now. And then I've got an assortment of blue scraps throughout. I would have done this whole thing by hand. So I sewn the hexagons with the binding by hand, joined them by hand with probably a ladder stitch, and then actually attach them onto the cushion by hand. I can see that I've done an applique stitch all the way around to the edge, which was quite difficult because this is quite a thick cushion. But it works really nicely. The colours that my mum has in her living room are blues and yellows, so that goes really nice. And then let's have a look at this Christmas cushion then. So I think I made this maybe about 3 years ago or so now. So it's a blue winter themed, I think, so I like to change it when the season changes. It's got this it's all hand sewn and then I've hand quilted on the front, but the back I machine quilted. It's all hand sewn together, and I've used this fabric, the white fabric. It's a Liberty fabric. I think most of these were from a Liberty range. The print with the presents, the baubles and the Christmas trees is a Liberty range. And then I've added a few little bits from my stash, including some ice skaters right in the middle of the star there. And then the back, it's an envelope back cushion, and we've got two coordinating Liberty prints there on the back, and it's just quilted, just with straight line quilting. And I just really like this one. I like how full it is. I just like the patchwork vibe of it, and as you probably know, I love that type of white fabric where it's just got a little bit of extra interest to it, so you can understand it's not overly Christmas, is it? But this one is coming off the sofa today, going to go in the wash and get stored for next year. Now this next one I made when I started getting into foundation paper piecing, because it's great to make a cushion when you just want to make one block, maybe as a practice, or you don't want to commit to a full quilt, to stick it in a cushion. So yes, I had used all of my scraps for this. Now, I should say, I've done a video before mentioning cushions, I think on my Instagram, and some people who was in America said, what are cushions? We sit on cushions. So perhaps you call these pillows. Throw pillows. We call them cushions, but they're the same thing, I think. You put them on the sofa, decoration, sit against them, put them on the bed, that type of thing. So yeah, this one was when I got into foundation paper piecing, and this is a pattern by 10K Knits. It's available on Etsy. Anything that's got a pattern or anything like that, I'll leave the links down in the description box. I always do that for you. And the white that I used here was just a pillowcase. I don't think I was big into my whites at the point of making this one. So it is a little bit see-through in parts, but I don't think it really matters. And then I've quilted directly through the centre of the star and around the edge of the star. And when you see it in person, it does really make the star pop and adds a really nice little bit of texture. And then this one again is an envelope back. I don't like the envelope backs anymore. Maybe I'm not great at the construction, but I just find that they always gape, especially when you're using them. They don't look as neat on the back. So what I now do is put a zip on there and cover it with a tab of fabric. There's a really useful tutorial that I watch, and I have to watch it every time I come to do the back of a cushion just to refresh myself. But yeah, the zips are a great way, and then you don't get this, and they're not hard to put in. They're actually surprisingly easy. So don't be scared about putting a zip into a cushion. I'll show you in a moment where I put it. I don't put it at the bottom seam. I think that would be a little bit more tricky, but this way is absolutely really easy. You might remember a cushion that I made for my sister, which was again a foundation paper pieced crow. And that one was the first time that I did the zip on the back, and it come together really well. And I find that it helps the cushion stay nice and full compared to where you have the envelope back. Some of the fullness is kind of escaping in the gape. So it just makes the cushion a little bit more plump, I find. Now, we'll give a nice little mention to my smallest cushion that I've made. Now, this one I made because I had some blocks that I'd made wrong. I was making a 9-patch tiny project, still am, but I needed the coloured squares to be in the corner, and here they're in the centre. So these ones were excess blocks, and I've just filled it with some stuffing and then put some lavender in there, and I did just get a really nice whiff of it, and it's really nice, and it just saves those blocks going to waste, and you can just have this as decoration in like a little display thing, whatever you want to call them. Now then, moving on to the most recent cushions, and again you might have seen this from my whip parades that I did, but I finished my Hawaiian applique cushion, and I couldn't be any prouder than this cushion, and I really enjoyed making it. So just to recap you, I did a workshop last year at the Festival of Quilts on Hawaiian applique, and the project that they gave us was a blue fabric, and only in the workshop it was only an hour, so we only had time to cut it out and start basting it onto the background fabric. But I didn't like the fabric that was given to us at the workshop. It was a blue colour, and I just thought that's not going to match anything that I have. So I went round to the show and I bought myself a fat quarter of a batik that I did like. Come home, thought, yeah, I'll start that straight away. I didn't. I shoved it in the cupboard for like 8 months, but I finally pulled it out and I've done it. I made this as a video over on my Patreon channel, so if you wanted to check that out, it was a 2-part video, and I just had the best time making it. It was really good, surprisingly easy. It's just needle turn applique, so this whole front is hand stitched, so it's needle turn applique around to the shape, and then I have hand quilted all the way around the design. This is called the tea leaf design, this one is. I also have a template for a pineapple one, so I think I might do that one as a matching pair, and this one comes out as a really nice big cushion. I think I bought a 20-inch insert, I think. And then on the back we've just got the zip concealed underneath. I did need to use a blue zip because I didn't have anything else. I've since ordered some white continuous zip from Amazon. It hasn't arrived yet, it's actually arriving today, so I was like, oh, typical, because I've got a project that's waiting for a zip. It's arriving today, and then that would just be my zip that I use for all of my cushions, because it'll be white and it will blend in much better than this blue zip does. So I can't comment on the quality of the zips, but again, I'll leave them in the description if you want to, because you do get quite a few zip pulls. I think there was 20 zip pulls. And now this is the method that I like for finishing my edges on the cushions. All the raw edges are on the outside rather than the inside, and then I just bind it around the edge. I was very short on the fabric when I was making this one because I was using 1 fat quarter to cut this out and then for the binding. So I only had 1.5 inch strips to do this binding. Whereas if you do the binding a little bit bigger, it kind of sits a little bit prouder from the cushion and acts as a little bit of a frill. So that is this. I love it. It's so squishy, it's so nice. And yeah, I'll definitely make another one. This one was hand quilted on the front, machine stitched on the back, machine quilted. Let me know in the comments if you've tried Hawaiian applique and was you tempted to make a full quilt. I am tempted to do a sampler quilt, but it might be a bit optimistic, I think. Now I'm going to give an honourable mention to 2 cushions that I have that are still in progress. One is from the Whip Parade video, so you'll be pleased to see that one getting used, and one is a new project. I will just mention the reason why I haven't managed to get these finished in time is because I've been working on a very exciting project, and I'll be sharing that with you in next week's video. So do make sure that you turn on your notifications and subscribe to the channel so that you hear about that video coming out. You'll be excited, and I am very excited. So this is a project that I've been working on. I think I've probably been working on it the last 2 weeks, and one of my papers is coming out there. So this is, I initially planned this to be a cushion, but now I'm wondering if it would make a nice wall hanging. I'm not sure. Let me know in the comments. Should I commit and make this into a cushion, or should I turn it into a wall hanging? This is made with Laurie Holt's brand new fabric line called Americana, and that is made via Riley Blake Designs. And I've only used a selection of the fabrics. As with Laurie Holt's fabrics, you get so many in the range, don't you? But I've only used a select few here. And whatever I decide to do, whether it's a mini quilt or a cushion, the edging or the binding will be in this lovely yellow colour, just to mirror it, because there's only a small amount of the yellow, isn't there? But this is all completely foundation paper pieced, and this is a pattern that I bought from Etsy that is called the Rosa Mini Quilt. But it would make a very nice cushion. This finishes at 14.5 or 14, I believe. So it is a good size. There we go. I am leaning a little bit more to a wall hanging because I don't have any more of this cream with the blue and red dots. Did I say the name of the fabric? It's called Americana. I don't have any more of the blue and red dots to add a little bit of a trim, you know, a border all the way around the edge, because I think if I put this onto a cushion, you would lose a little bit of it to the edge, you know, it wrapping around the corner, wouldn't you? You'd lose a little bit. So I do always try and put a bit of a border, perhaps just these. But this was quite enjoyable to put together, and it wasn't too difficult. It's just made up of these centre pieces here and then 4 sections in each corner. So you just make quite a few of the same blocks that then go into the corner. And the shop that I bought this from has got so many similar type of patterns, and they're all really, really nice. So I do highly recommend her Etsy. I can't remember the name of the Etsy shop off the top of my head, but like I say, in the description. I've said that enough times, haven't I, today? But as with foundation paper piecing, the seams on the back are a little bit of a mess. So yes, that one will be getting finished next week. So do stay tuned and I'll share the update on that. I'm not sure, cushion or a wall hanging, let me know. Perhaps a wall hanging could be quite fitting for next week's video. Now then, so if you watched the Whip Parade video, you'll remember seeing this motif that I had, and I also had it hanging on my design wall for the longest time. I've just left it there, knowing that I wanted to do a cushion. So this is what I've made. So I've done 3.5-inch squares all around the edge to make a low volume patchwork design, and then this is machine applique with a blanket stitch into the middle. You can see the quilting on the back quite well, I think. Hopefully with some up close shots you can see the quilting on the front as well. So yeah, I thought I'd turn that into a cushion. This is another really nice big one. This one's going to finish at 20 inches, I think. So I've got a nice big cushion insert. And I just tried to pull out really nice, fun, low volume fabrics for the background, just to use them up and just also to add a little bit more interest rather than just keeping it one solid colour. For the back, couldn't be bothered to do the patchwork on the back. So I've got this really nice fabric that's got peach and pink and orange hearts all over it. So I've made 2 of these and this will just go on the back. Like I said, I'm just waiting for my zip to arrive and then I can get all of this constructed. I couldn't find, I know that I used fat quarters for these bits of the patchwork. That's the Tula Pink ladybird print in the middle, in the cotton sateen, so that's the backing. But I used fat quarters for these and I couldn't find where I'd put them. I probably put them into my scrap bucket, never to be seen again. So I was thinking if I could get any of these ones, I'd put that as the binding, but I can't find them. So I pulled out this scrap that I bought. I think it goes quite nicely, and that will just go as a nice wide binding around the edge of the cushion. And hopefully I'll get that one done in the next week or so, and I'll be able to share the progress with you on that as well. But that one's definitely going to be a cushion. I've got the insert literally sitting there ready and waiting. I bought this scrap very recently from a shopping trip that I went on. I always pick up things like these because they're so handy to have in your stash, aren't they? And I think this was like a width of fabric, so very handy to have. So that is pretty much the end of the cushions that I've been making recently. I haven't actually made the cushions recently because I haven't finished constructing them, have I? No, I have. I've done the Hawaiian one. But I just wanted to share those with you. I am sorry that it's a little bit of a shorter video this week, but like I say, next week's video will be really exciting, so do make sure you stay tuned. So until the next time I see you, you take care and happy quilting.